Recording in progress.
Hi, friends. It's Anne Marie with AM Astro. And today I was going to talk about the new moon coming up on Wednesday. I have the chart. I shall pull it up. Um, so here it is, 7:36 a.m. on Wednesday, based on in Washington, D.C. And the new moon is 9 degrees 51 minutes of Aquarius. Um, so this is the first new moon since Pluto has been uh, set into Aquarius officially for the long haul. And Mercury has also recently entered Aquarius. And so the new moon is right on the ascendant of this chart. So we also see that the part of fortune is there too. Because it's a new moon, it's being extended as far as the moon is extended from the sun, from the ascendant. Anyway, this new moon is being ruled by Saturn because traditional rulers, Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. And Saturn is in Pisces, located in this first house, along with Venus and Neptune. And Venus is in a conjunction with that Neptune. So that those seeds are being planted as well during this new moon. I heard a couple of people talk about the fact that there's an asteroid named Icarus that is also conjunct this new moon. So I happen to have, I have to, so I have this Icarus statue that you can see in my kitchen. He's been out on my back patio, and so he's very, very dusty. So I try to clean him up a little bit, but he's too big to come closer. I tried to put him on the dining room table, but you wouldn't have been able to see him. And he banged his head against my chandelier. so we're just going to keep him over there. But Icarus, as you know, the story of Icarus is that he created these wings out of feathers and wax and flew too close to the sun, thinking, oh, there's a beautiful woodpecker on my window. Flew too close to the sun, and so the wax melted and he crashed and burned, basically. Fell to his death. So obviously we have plenty of people talking about leaders that have lifted themselves up too high, thinking that they are too thinking they're all that, and getting too close to the sun, and they're going to burn and they're going to fall. But is it really leaders? Because Icarus is a young man, as you saw. He was a young man. He wasn't a leader. He just was a young man that thought too much of himself, or thought that he was invincible, as many young men, young women do. They think, oh, I'm going to live forever. I can do anything. Aren't we all just so brave and reckless and, doing whatever when we think we're going to live forever when we're young? So the younger people is who I'm thinking of. Not young men necessarily, but I'm thinking more of these tech bros, this younger generation that has taken it upon themselves to insert themselves into the leadership, into these positions, these high positions close to the sun, to the actual leaders, and trying to then control the sun, trying to control the leadership. Maybe we will see the downfall of some of them, or one of them. One would be great. More the better. It's in a fixed sign though. If we were in a multiple mutable sign, I would be like, hey, yeah, we're going to see more than one. But I do think that this seeding here in the new moon is going to be there's an awareness of problems. We have two uh, closing semi-squares in this chart. The first one is Mercury in a semi-square, let's see, to Saturn. And the new moon is in a semi-square to Venus. So you add 30 and then 15. Yeah. So those two closing semi-squares, because Mercury is fast planet and it's closing in on Saturn. So that's why it's a closing semi-square. And then the sun and moon together are in this closing semi-square to Venus, where Venus is exalted. Now, the meaning behind a closing semi-square, 315 degrees, I've typed it up here, and it's to navigate this evolutionary crisis effectively, it's essential to embrace the tension between introspection and social interaction. Because if you think about the closing square, that's a crisis of belief. Like the opening square is a crisis of action, and then the closing square is the crisis of belief. And so this semi-square now is like, we've had that crisis of belief. Like, is this really something to believe in? Is this new thing that we're doing or that we've learned? Do we believe it or not? And you start to think about experimentation, recognizing the need for both experimentation and fulfilling social responsibilities can help you maintain balance. As you explore new forms, be open to the conflicts that may arise and ensure you cultivate connections with others who are in a similar journey. This dual approach will enable you to adapt and thrive in this transformative period. So with Mercury to Saturn, Mercury is new ideas, especially in Aquarius. There's, this moving forward into new ideas, but Saturn in Pisces is like, Saturn is like, hold up, did you think of everything? Hold up. And in Pisces, it's just like, the fluid, emotional, you have an emotional limit to what can be accomplished. And then with the new moon, with the sun, of course, in its detriment, and then this closing semi-square to Venus, this also feels, this is obviously, it's a seeding point. It's, getting ready for something new. What are we planning? And Venus being exalted in Pisces has something to say about that. And in this chart, she rules the third house of communication and like early learning, and also just the local community, and also rules the eighth house of other people's money and stress. But the idea of other people's money kind of feels like this seeding moment and the awareness of the involvement of other people's money and in this exalted state feels like, okay, so do I believe these people that have provided money for something, are they really out for my best interest? And having to be connected socially with them, but at the same time, you're internalizing it and thinking, is this really the best way to do it? How do we do this? How do we thrive in a situation where our best interests are not being considered, but they're the best interests that somebody else has bought and paid for? One situation that comes to mind with this flying too close to the sun, or thinking you're too big for your britches, so to speak, is how Trump has been talking about, or I don't know I don't know how far, but the idea of buying Greenland, right? Um, and the idea of taking back Panama, the Panama Canal, uh, and annexing Canada. It's just, these are things that are like, you're too big for your britches. You're just ridiculous. But when I was looking at these other charts to see if there was any connection to these countries in this chart, the Panama chart came up as a pretty significant one. So this is the birth chart for Panama. And look at their midheaven. It's the same degree as the new moon. And some other things. Well, let's do a biwheel. Hang on. This mouse is driving me crazy. It's so jumpy. It's so jumpy. Okay, so we'll put, actually, let's swap those. Let's put Panama's chart on the inside, and then this new moon. So you can see the new moon is right on top of their midheaven. I mean, by just a few minutes off. And it's applying, which means it's strengthening, something's coming. If it were separating, I would be like, okay, well, maybe that's all past, but it's applying. So it's saying, no, these seeds are being planted for a reason. And then we've got the Mercury that's in a semi-square to Saturn is applying to conjunct Panama's Saturn. So there's definitely these structures and limitations and the way things have been handled before are being challenged. Are they going to work? Are these new ideas that somebody's coming up with and bringing them to us, are they going to work? Can we shut them up? The ascendant is 17 Taurus, and with Uranus retrograde applying to that, I forget how far Uranus goes before it stations. I think it's coming up soon, so I don't think it would get all the way to that. But there is this idea of there's a disaster on the horizon. Disaster is nearby. They have a 12th house moon, and it is in a trine to their Uranus. So there is that. Oh, and this is a quincunx, like an almost exact quincunx, 2315 and 2316. Wow. So there definitely feels like something unexpected is going to pop up here. Their sun is in a square to this new moon. So yeah, and that's, well, that would be considered an opening square. So yeah, this is a crisis of action for them. So what are they going to do when the United States pops in and says, yeah, we're going to take over this canal. Thanks. Just ridiculous. So I don't know. That is just some things that I saw when I was looking at this. The other things, there's a lot of planets that are not happy in this chart. Like I said, the sun is in detriment. Venus is exalted. She's happy as can be. Mercury is trying to get away from Pluto. And we've still got Mars in its fall retrograde, and it's in the 6th house. So which is the house of its joy. So that alleviates a little bit of it, but it's still in just bad shape. And it's got a little ways to go before it reaches its station to turn direct. What I would note, though, is that Saturn is at the exact degree in a trine to where Mars will be coming in and stationing. So that's planting, there's another seed there, that Saturn and Mars, this very fallen, unhappy, nasally, sinusy Mars, who can't quite figure things out here in the sixth house of the military and of ill health, of our day-to-day, is going to retrograde back to 17 degrees of Cancer, which would be in a trine. And a trine is a supporting, flowing aspect. It does not necessarily mean a positive aspect. The condition of the planet that it is in touch with flavors the aspect more than the aspect itself. So, like, even with this Jupiter mutually applying to a trine to the new moon, Jupiter is, you would think, oh, well, that's really good because it's Jupiter and Jupiter's fabulous. Well, no, Jupiter's not fabulous when it's in detriment and it's retrograde. And it's angular. So it's, that detriment in that retrograde unhappiness of Jupiter is expanding its uncomfortableness. And so it's sending this uncomfortableness, and I can't do what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm in detriment. I don't have the resources that I need here. So communications could be afoul, and it's throwing this supportive, expansive energy to this new moon seeding. And you kind of get the idea of, like, since it's a new moon seeding something, whatever grows from this is going to be inundated with weeds or something, it's going to grow really fast. It could get out of control really quickly, but not in a good way, because this supportive aspect from Jupiter is coming from a detrimented retrograde planet. So, yeah, flying too close to the sun. What can be coming up with this new moon situation? That's really all I wanted to talk about for this. I have my 2 videos for the AFC and the NFC championships that are today that I did with John Frawley's contest system. So I thought I'd get this one up before those 2 came through. If I'm totally off on both of those, but if I'm off, it's fine, because I'm learning, right? I'm trying something new and I'm learning, and it's helping me understand astrology. The more I actually practice it by doing these videos and talking my way through something, the more I'm learning. And so, I've been studying now for 5 years, so it's about time that I got back out there and tried to do something with it. So thank you for watching. Please feel free to like, and if you haven't subscribed, please do that. That would be amazing. And we will see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.